Hey, scrappers and recyclers, welcome to Shark Scrapper Live, where every Sunday we take a look at what's going on in the precious metals market, industrial metals market. We have a safety tip for the week, and well, we have surprise announcements that come up, and we've got a couple of doozies going on today, so stay tuned. I'm really excited. We've got some great stuff to talk about today. I want to start out by saying hello to everybody that's already joined us. Mike's Meltdown, JR Cat, great to have you. Will there be any snafus? Probably. It's live. It happens. David Fillet, welcome. Roger at CU Scrapping, great to have you all here. We're just going to have so much fun today. I mean, there's just some really cool stuff to talk about. Andy, welcome. Great to have you joining us. All right, well, let's dive right into our discussion for precious metals. We're talking about gold, as you saw from the thumbnail. Let's see, we're starting out on the APMEX website. I am not sponsored by APMEX. I get no consideration from APMEX. But hey, if anybody from APMEX happens to see this and you want to sponsor me, give me a call. I'll be happy to chat with you. In the meantime, we're looking at the 3-day chart. We're down 1.2. That's all that means is that if you take a line from there and you go to there, it's down $1.20. It's hard to see on this chart. You can see we've had quite a bit of variability, but let's get over to some longer time scales and see what those are telling us. Here's the week. So for the week, we're down 1.74%. That's, the way that it wasn't just a steady drop, right? We had sort of this drop down to something of a plateau that tried to climb up a little bit, and now has been on another up and down kind of plateau going to the end of the week. And if we look at the quarter or the 3-month period, we're still up 3.62%, which is nice. You can see we start out here, we end up here. Most of the variability was on top of the straight line. Gold's chugging along here. But the real story is when we look at our long-term, and it's hard to see in this chart. So we're going to pop over to our trading economics chart, and we're going to bring up gold here real quick. This is what we really want to talk about. What's been going on for gold here since around mid-April. And let's do that. Now let's get our line going here like that. So, since mid-April, we've been bouncing around this 33, 35 line here. A lot of variability around that line. And why is that good for us as scrappers? Because it means that the scrap yards and the people that buy our gold-bearing material don't need to be changing their prices. You have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get when you send in your scrap, and you can be a bit more comfortable with taking a week or 2 weeks to accumulate enough material to make it worth sending in to, say, boardsort.com. So we love to see this up and down around a line. And the reason why I say we love to see that is because it brings a certain amount of stability to what can otherwise be, kind of like what's going on. Yeah, we'd love to see the price climbing because that means we're going to get more. But when we see the price climbing too steeply, then we don't know what to do. And the scrapyards aren't sure what to do. And it just creates confusion that's hard to follow. So a nice steady bouncing around a certain level that is good, that's a nice high level, is good for us. Or a nice slow increase is good for us. But shock moves up or down, that makes the market really hard. Well, the folks at Trading Economics have a nice discussion here. Gold price is trading around $33.40 per ounce, heading for its worst week since late June. as hotter than expected U.S. data tempered hopes for a large Fed rate cut. U.S. producer prices in July rose at its fastest pace in 3 years, well above forecasts, signaling that companies are passing higher import costs from tariffs on to the consumers. Traders are now leaning toward a 25 basis point rate cut next month. Yeah, we'll see. We've heard a lot about rate cuts that never happen, followed by another one in October, reflecting the Fed's daily comments. Now, we'll see if that actually plays out. There's always a lot of speculation on the Fed rate cuts, and when the Fed cuts rates, then the banks get charged less to borrow money, which means that we get to borrow money. We and big companies get to borrow money for less. So there is some goodness there, but usually there's also associated badness for why those rates were being cut. So, like anything in our world, it's a balance. Let's see. On the geopolitical front, expectations remain cautious about the summit between Trump and Putin. And I think we've all been watching the news since that happened on Friday. So I don't see any huge changes coming up here that are going to have major impacts on the gold prices. So for us, it's okay at this point purely from the position of scrappers and recyclers selling our precious gold bearing material to our buyers, whoever they may be. Right now, bouncing up and down is that's fine. We can plan on it. We can sell our material. We can accumulate our material. It's good. And we'll stand by to see how things play out. Let's take a real quick look at the forecast, though, and see what it is the trading economics folks see. As always, I will draw your attention to this part of the chart where we have this, wait a minute, let me get the right symbol here, where we have this line moving up, climbing over 3,500. We've been seeing this for a while. And if you use your imagination and I draw the line fat enough, it looks like we've had this slow trend moving in that direction. Yeah, so, I think we're on this slow trend moving up, which is fine. It continues to give us confidence to accumulate gold-bearing material, sell our gold-bearing material. We don't need to be too tempted to hang on to it for a quick spike. And we don't need to be afraid that it's falling off. So, I think we can really feel good about what's going on here. All right, let's take a look at the comments that have been coming in on gold and see what folks have got to say about gold here. I'm going back through we still have all the hellos coming in here. Scrapping Irish joined us. Electronic Scrapper joined us. Great to have you all here. I'm looking for gold comments. Roger dropped a copper comment. We'll talk about that in a little bit, so hang on. Richard Hulbert's in the house. Welcome, Richard. Andy, did I say hello yet, Andy? I think I did. I don't know. If I didn't, hello. I am looking for some gold comments. Folks talking about the weather. Yeah, it's there's been some heat out there, hasn't it? At least here in the U.S. All righty. Well, about the only gold comment I see out there is Andy talking about cutting off gold pins. So that's cool, man. No worries. So let us, and Mike just dropped a gold comment. See that? Gold comment. Oh man, I tell you what, you just gotta love the sense of humor that some of the folks that are They're part of this crowd, man. I'm telling you. All right. Well, our safety note today, as always, brought to you by experiences that occur during the week. Now, don't worry, there was nothing terrible that went on. Just a few things that gave me some reminders that we need to protect our eyeballs. We as humans have been blessed with two eyeballs. They're in the front of our head, and that allows us to have very good depth perception. So if you lose one of your eyes, your depth perception gets really bad, and it just makes life more difficult for us. So the best thing to do is not to lose either one of your eyeballs. Now, there are a few things that you need to think about. This is the American Optometric Association website. And what I really like about this was they have some really cool points. One of the things that I thought was interesting is that when workers experienced eye injuries, there were two major causes. They either weren't wearing proper eye protection or they weren't wearing the right kind of eye protection for the job that they were working on. And those are two very important considerations. When we think about eye injuries, we have the ones that we think about a lot as recyclers, scrappers and recyclers, the projectiles, right? So the dust and metal fibers that come off of stuff that we're cutting and things, and the chemicals that we might be using when we're doing stuff that like refining. But the other thing that we don't think about, it's not a huge issue for us, but it could be, depending upon how you do your scrapping, radiation. Now, I'm not really worried about lasers. I don't know how many of you work around lasers. I keep trying to get lasers on my sharks, but nobody wants to help me with that. However, we do spend a lot of time in the sun, so we do need to talk about the radiation hazards as it applies towards the sun. Bloodborne pathogens, not a big deal. Yeah, we might cut ourselves, but it's our own blood that would be getting in our eyes, so that's probably not anything that you need to worry about. They have started talking about eye strain from computer vision, and I thought that was really interesting because that lends itself to a couple of rules that they have put up. One of them is the 20-20-20, the other is the 30-30-30. They both kind of address the same thing. Essentially, what they say is the 20-20-20 rule is that every 20 minutes you should look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. The 30-30 rule is every 30 minutes, look away from your screen at something 30 feet away for 30 seconds. All right. Now, you don't need to measure out 30 feet and you don't need to actually time it out. It's the idea that every 20 to 30 minutes, you stop doing your close work and you look out at something further away so that you can relax your eyeballs. We do a lot when we're doing scrapping. We're looking at fine stuff that's up close to us, so you got to be careful of that. Or we spend a lot of time on computers. The other thing that I want to talk about is the chemical stuff, and the reason why that is a special note is because we think about. It's easy for us to think about when we're using our grinders or something popping off of, and the projectile kind of thing. But when we're using chemicals, you got to remember that you have the droplets and you have the fumes. And so it's, the droplets can get around your glasses if you're wearing safety glasses. And the fumes, of course, can be dangerous, not only to inhale, but if they get in your eyes. So that's why it's very important that if you're doing refining or recovery, that you have a full face mask respirator so that you're not inhaling the nasty stuff and you're also protecting your eyeballs from the vapors that can be dangerous to your eyes. So make sure you're wearing the right kind of eye protection for the work that you're doing. Don't cheap out on it. It's really important. And I can't stress enough why you want to keep an eye on uh, your eyeballs, so to speak. Now, the other thing that I want to uh, point out about eye protection that I touched on just a minute ago is the sun. We're all out there in the sun a lot. We don't think about the sun necessarily, but the sunshine can have a lot of damaging effects on our eyes. 25 years in the Navy, a lot of time aboard ship, and I have had significant eye problems as a result. The VA does a lot of work on my eyeballs. When I was on active duty, I had a lot of work done on my eyeballs. The VA keeps doing a lot of work on my eyeballs, and it all relates back to too much time in the sun. So now I'm very careful to wear good sunglasses. These are Oakley's, and you will frequently see that I put a link in my videos to Oakley sunglasses. And the reason I do that is not only are they good sunglasses to protect your eyeballs from the radiation hazards of the sun, but they also have ballistic grade plastic. So if you're outside scrapping and you've got particles popping off, these won't shatter, these won't break, and you get both the sun and the ballistic protection. The style that I wear kind of wraps around the eye so that I've got side protection as well. So I consider them to be as much safety glasses as they are sunglasses. So, I'm not saying you have to go out and get Oakley's. They just happen to be the glasses that I'm very familiar with because they merge both sun and ballistic protection. All right, then. It is time now to move on to our next. Here, wait a minute. I got to get these things off. I cannot see the screen real well. That's how good they are. Oh, man. All right. Well, let's get over here and talk about copper. That's our industrial metal for today. And I tell you what, we've really seen some weird stuff going on with copper, haven't we? Copper futures hovered around 447, on track to finish the week with little change as investors continue to assess the supply side disruptions of the recent tariffs. Plus, we've got some disruptions in the mining side, suspension of underground operation at Codelco's El Teniente mine could have some near-term impacts, and the Chilean state-owned copper mine keeps saying they're going to produce the stuff. If things happen in the mines, that's normal. That's just what happens. But layer on to that, the confusion of the recent U.S. copper tariffs, which are 50% tariffs on finished copper products, and you just got a bunch of confusion out there as to what's going on. We can see that right here in this part of the chart. Let's go over to the candlesticks. Let's zoom in on that part of the chart here. And what we see is we got these really big downward candlesticks that occurred when the details of the tariff were announced. And then we see this period of, okay, what's going on? It kind of climbed up a little bit, and now it's kind of flattening out here. This is the market trying to understand what's going on with copper. It's also because prior to the tariff being clarified, there was a lot of copper pushed into the United States to try to get ahead of the tariffs. And so we ended up with a whole bunch of the more pure copper, whether it was copper ore or refined copper anodes and products in the U.S. And now we have too much copper, going to have an impact on the pricing, and that's got to settle out. And there's, just to add to the confusion, there's also the speculation out there that there could be additional layers to the tariff at some point in the future where they go after the copper ore or the refined copper products. So there's still a lot of uncertainty out there, and that's causing this weirdness in the market. Now, of course, that's for us as scrappers. It's like, okay, so what do we do? What's going on? Well, you got to pay attention to your local yard. Your local yards will have many of them will have contracts that they're fulfilling at a certain price, and that actually sets their price more than anything else. So your local yard may or may not have fluctuations in their pricing, regardless of what's happening around the rest of the world's prices. Plus, let's go back here real quick. I want to go to the line chart, and this is a 1 year chart, and so we can see that even though we had this huge drop from over $5 down to 440, almost in the 450-ish range here, that's not terrible. That's pretty good. As if you look at the 5 year, we're not as low as we had been at some points in the 5 year. We've certainly had some better prices in the 5 year, but overall, it's not terrible, terrible. And if we look at the 10 year, well, from the 10 year perspective, and many of you have been scrapping for 10 or more years, you're still doing pretty good for your copper prices. So, it's not good. Don't get me wrong. We hate to see prices take a dive like this. We hate to see confusion in the market because we don't know where it's going to take things. And a lot of us are going to have to make some hard decisions. Do we hang on to our copper and hope the prices recover? Do we sell our copper right now? If it's like, which way do we go here? The recommendations that I would make at this point are, if you don't have to sell your copper, don't. If you have to sell your copper for cash flow, then sell your lower grades, your number 3 insulated copper wire, your number 3 copper, and keep some of your better grades like your number 1 copper or your Bear Bright, and hope that the market starts to recover. Because if we look at the 1 year and we go to the forecast, there is still the belief in the market that we're going to get back over $5 a pound. So this will play out and prices are expected to recover. So my recommendation would be, if you don't have to sell your copper to meet your cash flow demands, then go ahead and hang on to it. If you are trying to meet cash flow demands, some of us have small businesses like E-Waste Mike and I. We have no choice. We have to keep meeting our monthly bills. So we'll sell our copper even though it's not great, because we need to meet cash flow. Sell the lower grade stuff, hang on to some or all of your higher grade stuff for the market to rebound a bit. You all know that I love to follow the 10% rule, where I keep at least 10% of my higher grade copper behind as a strategic reserve to take advantage of market fluctuations. And this is a great example of why that's a good thing to do. All righty. Well, let's go ahead and see what kind of comments we've had, whether they were on safety or on copper. Let's see. I got to go up here a little bit. We're going up like looking here for, I'm going way back up in the comments now, looking for any kind of eye safety stuff. Richard is saying that he wears his sunglasses at night so he can look cool. Okay. I bump into a lot of stuff if I wear my sunglasses at night. Yeah, Fon's like, yeah. Trust me, any attempt at me looking cool was gone a long time ago. So nothing there, man. Nothing there at all. Yeah, Men in Black. Yeah, we're scrapping for the aliens, man. because the aliens, they want our stuff, you know. E-Waste Mike has joined the house. Welcome, Mike. Great to have you here. Let's see. Oh, there's a comment about the hurricane. I tell you what, let's do this while we're, since the comment came up about hurricane, let's pop one over there real quick. So this is the National Hurricane Center's website, and what you can see is we've got this area that's a disturbance with a 10% chance of forming. Wouldn't get too worried about that. Here we have Erin, and if you click on the map, Erin, it takes you to the Erin specific information. Let's blow up the warning cones, and here you can see it's a major hurricane. Last I heard, Category 5. It's going to want to recurve naturally anyway back out into the Atlantic Ocean. Don't expect much of any kind of issues. If it goes too far to the west, it might be an issue along the North Carolina coastline, but right now it's just making the Atlantic Ocean fresher. That's kind of what we see. Let's look at the wind field probabilities here. So tropical storm force wind speed probability. So, Hatteras, the coastline, North Carolina, might get some tropical storm force winds if Erin pushes too far to the west. Hurricane winds, probably not an issue. Yeah. Probably the biggest disruption that we're going to see from this are cruise ships, because this will generate some very high seas throughout the Atlantic. So cruise ships are going to have to be very careful. I've already heard that some cruise ships were canceling transits to Bermuda, which makes a lot of sense. And you might see other cancellations from cruise ships. Don't see a whole lot of concern with Erin right now. We will always, of course, keep an eye on it, but not a big deal at this stage to get too concerned about. All righty. Let's see what other comments we got going on here. Folks talking about storm, looking for copper comments, looking for safety comments. Mike's saying that he's feeling a bit better, so that's good. We got folks just sort of chit-chatting a little bit about their health issues and those kind of things. Yeah. I like this one, David. Yeah, I'm getting older, or I wish getting older came with an instruction manual. Yeah, isn't that the truth, man? Isn't that the truth? And it always cracks me up. When I hear, people that are getting older and they say things like, well, it beats the alternative, and the only time I kind of think that's odd is, if it's a priest or a preacher, or, some uber religious person who says, well, it beats the alternative. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I thought you all said that was the best thing to happen. It gets a little confusing sometimes. Let's see. All right, so Andy's saying that my copper and brass are going nowhere until the market recovers. Okay, all right. Yep, and David's holding on to his as well, so that's cool. I've been holding on to my higher grade copper. I have to sell my number 2 and number 3 insulated copper wire because I need the cash flow, but I've been hanging on to some Bear Bright and some number 1 copper in anticipation of things getting back up a little bit. Roger says he wish he could hang on to his, but he's turning in 400 pounds on Monday for the cash flow. Got to make the money, man. Got the bills to pay. Roger's in the same situation that E-Waste Mike and I are in. We're trying to run a small business doing this scrapping thing, and boy howdy, the bills don't care if you're making money or not. So because they got to be paid. You got your rent, you got your insurance, you got utilities. Uh, so gotta do it. Yes, Richard, I know. I know the song. I got the reference. I just didn't want to sing the song because I didn't want to risk getting a strike on the channel. And my singing is so bad that if I sang that line from that song, I not that the band would just tell YouTube to take me down because it was an insult. Oh man. Let's see. Mike is telling Electronic Scrapper that he's got 103 pounds ready right now. Very cool. Uh, oh. There's a song about mother-in-laws too, man. Yeah, yep. You in trouble. You be in trouble. All right. Well, let us now talk about really exciting news. So, I received an email from the researcher that I worked with at the University of Miami, Dr. Neil Hammerschlag. He left the university a while back and created his own research foundation, the Shark Research Foundation, so that he could free himself from the bureaucracies of a large university, focus on what he really wants to focus on. And many of you who have been with me for a while, you remember that we donated money to the University of Miami. We adopted a shark. We named it Alihikai. We were able to track it for a while on their website. It was a really fun thing to do, and is part of my commitment for Shark Scrapper, the business that is Shark Scrapper LLC, my commitment to support shark research. When Neil told me that he was going to do his own thing, I held off on donations to the University of Miami so that I could support his efforts because he does a lot of really good stuff when it comes to shark research and education. Well, he, like me, took a little bit longer to get things going than what we thought. It's been a year plus now since I moved up here to Western North Carolina between Helene and just other things that have taken place. Getting Shark Scrapper spun back up again has been challenging. Getting the Shark Research Foundation fully certified as a nonprofit organization for tax purposes, plus just getting the organization stood up and created and out there doing good work again, took Neil a little bit longer than what he thought it would, I believe. But we are back up and running, and it's amazing to me sort of the timing of how this played out because they are now fully up and running. They're tagging sharks. We're up and running, and we have two major announcements. The first one is that they just tagged a shark, and they have asked me to go ahead and name the shark. Me being us, the Shark Scrapping Shiver. So we used the money that we had set aside from all of your donations to adopt this first shark. And we'll learn more about her as this plays out. What we know about her right now is that she's a 12-foot great white, and she was just tagged a few days ago. So 12-foot great white, and we're going to name her. Now, you may recall back when I had my Patreon thing going, I told the top tier members that when we adopted another shark, they would be able to submit names for the shark for consideration. I have 3 names that we are going to vote on. About 5 minutes ago, a poll went live on my Shark Scrapper YouTube channel with the three names for everyone to vote on. If you don't get the notice, it's easy. Just go to YouTube, type in Shark Scrapper, click on the tab for polls or posts, and it'll take you to the poll. And you can vote on one of the three names that are the finalists for our 12-foot female great white. I'm going to give you the names right here so that you can be thinking about which way you want to go. I am not going to tell you who submitted the names, but I am going to give you a little bit of the backstory of the names. So the first name for consideration is Hannah, A-N-N-A. Hannah just started college. And so the former Great White Shark member of the Patreon felt that that was an appropriate relationship because this family member is just starting college. We just tagged this shark. So we're going to start out following a very new phase of this person's life. So Hannah is one of the three names to consider. The third name is Salvager. The person who submitted that name felt that, sharks being salvagers of the oceans, it's a really cool relationship to what we do as salvagers of the lands, as scrappers and recyclers. So the second name to consider is Salvager. And then the third name is one from history. It's Boudica, Boudicca, Boudica. Boudica was a Celtic queen of the, how do you pronounce this? Iceni, Iceni tribe that fought against the Roman Empire. So her father had an agreement with the Romans that when he died, that his family would share the empire with Rome, but when he died, the Romans just took over everything. And so Boudica rallied her tribe. They fought against the Romans. They were successful for quite a while against the Romans, and they were eventually defeated. But sounds to me like Boudica was one really kick-butt woman. So those are the three names to think about and vote on. You'll see the post out there. So Boudica, Anna, or Salvager. So please go ahead and vote on all those. And the name that gets the most votes is going to be the name that we will use, that I will submit. Now, you have until noon tomorrow. So noon Monday to vote on those names because the Shark Research Foundation, they need to get their press release out, get their information out. And it's very nice of them to hold off their press release to give us an opportunity to name the shark. It's been a really fast moving train here. I'm hoping that in the future we'll have a little more time to get together and think about names and stuff. So really exciting. And I just want to show you here, this is the website for the Shark Research Foundation. This is Dr. Hammerschlag swimming with a tiger shark. You can see, if you want to learn more about the organization, it's got, here we are. He and his researchers do all kinds of really cool work all around the world about shark and shark research. Really interesting things that they're not out there trying to just hype stuff up. They're trying to understand sharks. They're trying to help us understand sharks so that we can better take care of them, have a better understanding of their habitats, what urbanization and fishing and those kind of things are doing to the sharks. And it was one of the reasons why it was really important to me that the organization that I would donate to, that Shark Scrapper would donate to, was doing real shark research and not just putting on a show. So really cool organization here. Plus, Dr. Hammerschlag has some really cool educational programs for young people, so that he's helping to bring young people into the fold. And of course, if you want to directly support, you can go right here to their website and you can donate. Here's some low dollar donations you can make, and you can get some really cool stickers out of it. There's other ways you can donate. Um, and this is we do shark tagging is all the way over here. When you get interested in this, there's a lot of communications directly with Dr. Hammerschlag to make sure that we get through, and you're actually you get to decide what you're tagging. I told Neil that I wanted to support tagging a great white, and so this we're going to be adding to this here really soon. So this is their website. I encourage everybody to go check it out, learn about them, and once they go live with our shark, I will get you more information about how you can see her and track her, keep an eye on her. And every now and then we'll dive in and take a look at her and see what she's doing and where she's going. It is a satellite tag, so every time she broaches the surface of the ocean, we'll get a fix on her. The tags, when she's underwater, you don't see the tags. But the good thing about great whites is they tend to broach the surface. So we will be able to get some hits on her and see what she's doing and where she's swimming around. The other related piece of this is, as you all know, I have I announced it a while back. I terminated my Patreon. I will formally shut it all down here really soon. And I tried to get the word out to all my patrons to stop their payments. There's still one or two folks that are donating money. So if you have been donating money to the Shark Scrapper Patreon, please turn off your payment, because I'm going to shut down the Patreon. Now, when I shut down the Patreon officially, you should get the notice that says that that's not available anymore. Anyway, in lieu of the Patreon, I am starting a YouTube membership program. I just got notice from YouTube that the membership program was approved, and the perks that I wanted to do that were a little bit unusual, YouTube approved those as well. So you're going to see some really interesting perks. Same 3 tiers we had before: hammerhead, tiger, and great white. The prices very much the same as they were under the Patreon, but it's going to be a lot easier for you to do it now because it's going to be already part of YouTube. So you'll be able to just join right up from here, and you'll get cool little badges next to your name, so folks will know that you are supporting this work. But what's really cool is that the really cool perks are that if you are a tiger shark level, that's the mid tier, you will be the people who will vote on the names going forward. You and the great white shark members. The great white shark members will be the people who get to submit the names for consideration. So there will be 3 tiers: the hammerhead, which will be the entry level tier, and you'll get a bunch of cool stuff. The next tier up will be the hammerheads, in addition to all the stuff that the tigers. And so in addition to all the stuff the hammerheads get, the tigers, you will also get access to Geek Shark spreadsheets. You'll get your own videos and some other things like that. And you'll get to vote on the names. And then the great white shark members, that's the top tier. You get everything that everybody else gets. Plus, Geek Shark said he will be happy to optimize or customize spreadsheets for your scrapping efforts. And you'll get to submit names for consideration. Now, there's going to be a bunch of other perks that come along. I will continue to tweak and massage the memberships as we move forward, because my approach on memberships is you ought to be getting something for your support. So I really appreciate everybody who supported me on my Patreon. And now that we're going to move over to YouTube memberships, we're going to try to give the same or better support that you had back when my Patreon was up and active and doing stuff. I'm so excited to again be directly supporting shark research through this channel. That was a commitment I made when I started this channel. And it means so much to me that I'm going to be able to once again get back to supporting real shark research. All right, let's see. What kind of comments have we had coming up here since I started talking about the sharks and stuff? Let's see here. I'm going up to figure out where I left out. Okay, I think we are. I'm looking at some. I got the copper comments going here. So now I got to figure out where we were at the end of the copper. Okay, here we are. All right, so it would take a lot of looking for me to find the link. Is our first shark still trackable? No, Roger. The tag came off of a Lehi-Kai. Not exactly, we don't know for sure why that happened. It's not unusual. It's one of those things that happens. Sharks are physical things. They rub up against stuff. They bump stuff frequently. So the shark came off of a Lehi-Kai a while back. So no, we're not able to track a Lehi-Kai anymore. But we were able to track her for a long time, and she did some really cool stuff while we were tracking her. No, Andy, we're not going Sharky McShark face. Not one of the considerations, I'm afraid. Thank you for voting, JR Cat. I appreciate it. You know what, Scrapping Irish, if you want to submit those the next time around, join up on the membership. And when we do adopt our next shark, we will certainly give you that opportunity. Andy, I don't think we want to name her that because we don't want her to get hurt that much. I mean, great white sharks probably injure themselves enough as it is. We would hate to, do anything that might lead to her getting injured more often than what they normally get. Yeah, that would be, yep. Hey, folks of the Atlantic, welcome to me ocean. Oh, man. Mike, I don't disagree with you, man. I'm 100% on board with that. I tell you, I absolutely hate the practice of shark finning. And there's no reason to eat shark fin soup. It's totally hyped up uselessness. There's cultures out there that believe shark fin soup is a sign of great wealth and all this kind of stuff. Total bullshit. So the fact that sharks are finned is absolutely disgusting behavior on the part of some fishermen. I understand fishing and eating fish, and for fishermen that catch and process the entire shark. Okay, I mean that's to me that's a reasonable thing for to have happen. But if we overfish shark populations, then we won't have them, and we need them because they are very, very important to the overall ecosystems of the oceans. So I I understand the importance of fishing and the fact that as humans we're omnivores and seafood is an important part of our diet. I understand that sharks can be a part of that, but to fin a shark and not use the entire shark is to me criminal behavior. And when I see people that do that, my answer is okay, let's cut off their arms and legs and throw the human in the ocean and see how they feel about it. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. David just voted. Thank you, David. Great, 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 great. So, Andy, if you go to the channel, you should see the tab for posts. You know what? Let me see here. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can get there. Hang on. I'm going to see if I can do that without creating any confusion to things. Let's see. We're doing this in real time. I don't know how this is going to work. Hang on. All right. So let's try this. So here's the Shark Scrapper channel. We go to posts here and you scroll down and you will see the poll going right here for naming. And you can, that right now, let's see, Boudica is in the lead at 60%, Salvager at 40%, and Anna's not gotten any votes yet. So we're off to a good start with our naming. Hopefully that should help everybody find. And I'll go through it again. So when you go on YouTube, type in Shark Scrapper, click on the home page. It'll take you to the Shark Scrapper page on YouTube. Go across these tabs here to posts, click on posts, and it'll take you to the poll right here at the top of all the posts. All righty, let's see. Martha, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry I didn't say hi when you first popped in. Very cool, Shark Scrapper. Congrats on the new girl and your philanthropy to save our seas. You are welcome. It is my pleasure. I love the oceans. I've been in love with the oceans since I was probably 7 years old. I got the chance to spend a day with Jacques Cousteau. It was absolutely fascinating. I was 9, I think I was 9 years old at the time when I got to spend the day with Jacques Cousteau, which sealed the deal. I'd been in love with the ocean since I was about 7, but then I got to spend the day with Jacques Cousteau a couple years later, and that was it. From then on, I was absolutely in love with the ocean and have studied it and been a part of it ever since. Yeah, I was afraid of Jaws too, man. I got to tell you, it scared the bejesus out of me. And it's funny because I remember when Jaws first came out, I convinced my mom and dad to come with me to the movies, and we stood in line for probably 30 minutes to go in and see the movie. And my dad, who had a very long day at that point, he fell asleep during one of the quieter parts of the movie, and he let out a big snort kind of sound, scared the crap out of everybody in the theater. It was freaking hilarious. My mother damn near killed him. Oh yeah, great whites do a lot more than broach the surface, but they're one of those varieties of sharks that broach the surface routinely so that we can track them with satellite tags. Yeah, they do a lot of they do a lot of work down deep. I recently saw a really cool National Geographic video about the really large females, Deep Blue and some others off Hawaii. and how they've been finding them way down 1,000 feet or so when they've been down with ROVs and stuff. So that's really cool. JR Cat, yes, yes, I will. You can always donate. There, you can. I'll put the business mailing address out there, or I'll send it to you. You can also go make donations through PayPal, paypal.me /Shark Scrapper. The only thing I would ask is that you put a note on it that it's a donation for the sharks, so that I make sure to put it in the right place. And I'll get you the business address so that if you want to send a check, you can do that as well. And just like we did in the previous run up, back when we were actively trying to get our first shark, I'll start doing posts where I talk about, big donors and where we stand in getting to the tagging level. It costs $3,000 to tag a shark. So we'll track our progress towards tagging, and there's nothing that says we only have to tag one shark. If we make up enough money to get a couple of sharks, we'll do a couple of sharks. So I'll start actively promoting that part of the philanthropic side of Shark Scrapper again, now that things are up and running. And I also take a portion of all the proceeds that Shark Scrapper gets. A portion of all our profits go towards the shark donations as well. JR Cat doesn't want a paper trail. Okay, all right, cool. All right, I'll tell you how you can send me some cash. Hey, JR Cat, is that because you don't want the wife to know? Oh, you don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Yeah, this has been this is a really exciting opportunity. I'm just so happy that things are starting to come together again, and we're putting all the pieces of Shark Scrapper back together. I have some more things that are going on with Shark Scrapper that I'm not ready to announce yet. It's all really exciting. It took me longer than I expected to get things going again up here in Western North Carolina. But I think we're over that hump, and we are starting to see some real progress with the channel, with the business, with our philanthropy. So I'm really excited about everything that's going on. I'm looking forward to all the fun support that I will be able to provide to the members. And when you join as a member, what you see as the perks that are out there right now listed, I'm going to be changing and adding and tweaking those. And any inputs that you have to make the memberships more meaningful, please feel free to submit those to me. Because the idea behind the Shark Scrapper memberships is that you're getting something of value in return. Certainly, there are people who will donate to Shark Scrapper, become a Shark Scrapper member because they want to support our philanthropic work. But I believe you deserve something in return for that support. And so I've tried to make the membership something that is valuable to you and is fun for all of us to be a part of. So I look forward to having a lot of fun with that. And speaking of having a lot of fun, it is about time for us to cross the pond. Now, fortunately, we don't have to do it in the water, so we don't have to worry about our new great white shark finding us at an inopportune moment. We will follow the electrons all the way over to Ireland, where we will join Scrapping Irish and his live stream. Scrapping Irish has a great live stream. It's lots of fun. Sometimes we carry on with these discussions. Frequently, it's brand new questions and issues that come up. We have some of the usual suspects in the panel, but then there's also new people that pop up in the panel. You just never really know which way things are going to go once we're over in Ireland. So I encourage you to join us. Now, I have not set up the auto redirect, so Unfortunately, you will need to, when I end this stream, you're going to need to go click on YouTube, type in Scrapping Irish, find the link to go over to his live stream. I do apologize when I was setting up this live stream. I forgot to hit the redirect button, so that's a bad on me. So, but please take a moment when I end this stream and head on over to Ireland and join us with Scrapping Irish. In the meantime, don't forget to vote for the name if you haven't voted already, and I will let you know who wins during the week. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I will get you more information about our shark once we have all the details. In the meantime, I'll see you over in Ireland. Be safe, everybody.